All yours.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 17th, and this is our regularly scheduled Water Pollution Control Authority board meeting. There was a posted agenda. Any proposed changes to that agenda?
None for me.
Hearing none, we will move on to approval of the May 20th, 2026 meeting minutes. Second?
Aye.
Any discussion? All in favor?
I wasn't here, so I'm going to abstain.
1, 2, 3, 4 yeses,
either, so
2
I'll
abstains. Motion passes. Item number 3, old business, there is nothing. So new business, item number 1, we will move to here, consider an act on a modified sewer connection request for a proposed residential development at 168 Kings Drive with a request for a variance from sections 232, the approval validity period, and 233, the flow monitoring requirement of WPCA's rules and regulations. Note that the WPCA approved this applicant's initial connection request on May 19th, 2024. Is there anyone here to talk about it?
I don't know if we have a representative for the applicant. We have
Yep.
Evan here.
Oh, there we go.
We just can hear him.
You're on mute.
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it. We can't hear him.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
There we go. Good evening. My name is Evan Bauer. I'm a professional engineer with Crucedis Engineering out of Fairfield. And I'm here on behalf of the applicant for 168 Kings Drive. So kind of, as everyone kind of described, it's already been approved about 2 years ago. They are actually, in the time since it's been approved, it was originally for, I think, 88 units or 80 units. We've gone down to a 10-unit, 3-bedroom development. We updated on I&I and flow calculations, and we still meet all requirements through the WPCA. And the biggest thing, the only reason why we're back here in front of you now is that they're actually going to pull the permit, and we realized that we were about 1 month expired. So we're just asking for basically an extension of that initial request and with the updated I&I fee to be paid at time of the sewer permit. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Questions?
No, I think because it doesn't seem like anything has changed in that area. So I don't have an issue with it. And those pipes are very low. I think there's a very low threshold there on the pipes of what's being used. So,
Yeah, I believe even the highest one was at 43% capacity after we added our flow with the factors of safety. Everything else, the other one was, I think, even well below that at 2.6% capacity.
correct. So I don't have any issues.
No issues for me.
So there's 2 components to this. There's the engineering piece, which sounds like we generally all agree there's no issue. But then there's a precedent piece. With the permit having expired a month ago, there's nothing in our current regulations about any additional grace period beyond the 2-year period that we've
So
already.
it would be considered a new application that the commission's deciding on tonight. So whatever the decision may be, just for the applicant to be aware of that, the decision will be public noticed in the Fairfield Citizen, as all decisions on new applications are published.
And the fees paid would be at the current rate.
That would be regardless
Yeah.
of whether or not we extend or not.
Yes. So the one thing I would say is that we tried to start permitting this about a month and a half ago, and it wasn't really brought to our attention. We didn't realize our permit was about to expire. So by the time we actually found out about this, it was like a week after the permit expired is when we started all these
Right.
discussions.
Understood.
I agree. I don't see any issues with it, but I'm not disagreeing because I think even in your approval there, it does say must reapply. After this approval will be valid for 2 years from today. After 2 years, the applicant must reapply for an extended approval. So I think you do have to reapply, just as Matt was saying.
So, I mean, my thought is the way that it's currently written, the flow monitoring requirement is at our discretion.
That's correct.
So we can request that they apply for a new permit but waive the flow monitoring requirement, which more or less does the same thing as the extension, except that they have to do the public notice piece. If we had just granted an extension, they wouldn't have to do that or the
Yeah.
flow monitoring. I don't think we have the ability to waive that requirement. So I think that the new permit would have to be with the public notice period, but we can waive the flow monitoring.
That's correct. I agree.
So we would still have to come back theoretically next month to present again, or no, we're okay?
No.
with it?
No,
No,
this is purely a public
purely
hearing
just,
of
yeah.
Citizen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well,
there's-
we're okay with that, yeah. I mean, everything's been done with the third-party independent reviewer, and they found everything consistent with your policy otherwise.
We're gonna have to approve it next month.
What would we be approving?
Well, if they reapply, we're gonna reapprove it. It's not, because we can't approve something that they haven't applied for yet. I know it says to hear, consider, and act, but right now we're hearing and considering, but we're considering
request to
the
connect.
request to,
The request to connect.
well, I don't have the agenda in front of me. What's is this the request to connect?
On a modified sewer connection request for proposed residential development. I guess what, can we create a motion that they have to apply for a new permit, but that we approve the,
So the
That-
permitting is
if we're
typically
waiving
the
them.
administrative
what I
process
thought, too.
that is
Okay.
handled through the
Yeah.
utility.
Okay.
And it's part of all of these decisions that are made for requests to connect. And so the commission makes the decision, yes or no, to connect. If it's a yes, then the applicant moves forward with actually submitting the application itself and moving forward through the administrative process.
I guess, thank you. The clarifying question I would ask is the applicant coming in, presenting this, does that constitute a reapplication? Can we call that a reapplication and vote on it?
Yes.
We can, okay.
so we can
Yes.
approve a sewer connection request pending the new approval or new
It
permit?
would be the
Yeah.
same motion that we typically
Okay.
use for connection requests.
Okay.
And that the permit is submitted within the 2-year period. If it's not submitted within the 2-year validity period, and that validity period starts on the date that the commission makes the decision,
Right.
then they're coming in with a new application.
Okay. So we would be.
At this point, like I said, we
I
just
should
submit
say
within the
request.
next couple weeks.
Understood,
They're
yeah,
ready to go.
right. So I mean, obviously, the approval window is immaterial for them, but for us, it would be 2 years from this
Today.
meeting then, because that's when we're approving. Okay. I'm good. Any other comments, questions? If not, motion?
I have a question. David, I'm in here. I'm involved with this project. If we followed the whole application checklist going down the line to resubmit to come to the meeting today, so that, just to be clear, that this is considered a reapplication already, or are we gonna have to do this again?
The application is actually, that's a checklist just to make sure everything's been submitted for this commission to make a determination on the connection. And so all that information is submitted to the sewer department, conveyed to the WPCA's engineering service, and is evaluated by that service to inform the commission's decision. Then there's the administrative process. So there's this 2-tiered, we talk about application, but there's the pre-application that we're looking at this evening. And then there's the actual application online through the Town City Squared website.
Yeah,
Just like a
I'm
building
familiar with the
permit or
building
any
site,
other
yeah.
permit. There's the administrative process. Yeah, that's a good
Thank
question.
you.
Yeah, so we're not approving an extension. We are approving a connection request with no flow monitoring, but it's subject to a new permit.
Sewer permit. Gotcha. Thank you.
Motion?
If I knew how to say it, I would.
I don't know how to say it. I never know.
It's the same as your typical.
Yeah, it's the
ordinance.
same.
The agenda.
I gotta pull the old one. Give me a second. How many, what's your, oh my God, I am not ready today. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second here.
You want the gallons per day or?
I'm looking for the gallons per day, but I'm also looking for a,
Number of.
kind of what our typical language here. I'm searching for our typical language. I'm trying to pull, and it's not in the minutes of last meeting. If someone could pick up the minutes of
You mean from May of
April,
2024?
April, I think we acted on something.
Oh, just to get the
I just need the language. What's your gallons per day of your development, please?
The gallons per day increase is, let's
Not,
see.
no, not increase, just your gallons per day.
Oh, the typical before the peaking factor is 2897 gallons per day was the estimate.
Sorry, say that again?
2008.
2897. That's before the peaking factor.
Do we add the peaking factor in there?
Not in.
Okay. And how many units is the development, please?
10 3-bedroom units is the proposal.
Okay. Let's see. So I make a motion to allow the proposed development at 168 Kings Drive to connect comprised of 10 3-bedroom units and with a flow of 2,897 gallons per day to connect to the Fairfield sewer system. The approval will be valid for 2 years from today. After 2 years, the applicant must reapply for the extended approval. If an extension of time is requested, the WPCA at its sole discretion may require an updated sewer capacity analysis. The applicant will be required to pay the I&I fee in effect at the time the permits are issued, and the fixed I&I will be waived for the project if the permits are issued within the initial 2-year approval.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. All righty. Thanks, everybody. Item number 2, to hear, consider, and act on a request to extend WPCA's June 19th, 2024 sewer connection approval without modification for a proposed residential development at 812 Reef Road.
All right, good evening again, commissioners. My name is Avon Bauer. I'm a professional engineer with Cusidis Engineering. Here on behalf of the owner for 820 Reef Road for a proposed connection to a proposed extension of the approved connection for 812 Reef Road. So this is a little bit of a more unique scenario. This was approved 2 years ago. We're here before the expiration date this time, I promise. So basically what happened is the portion of the pipe that we are in front of, we don't actually have capacity. So part of the proposal to increase the capacity is to go from an 8-inch vitrified clay pipe in Reef Road to a 12-inch polyvinyl chloride, PVC. That goes, without that, we were at 97.04% capacity without changing the pipe. But with the pipe change, we go down to 27.84% capacity. We're just looking for an extension on the original permit, which was, I believe, a maximum of, I think it was 80. Is that right? 80 2-bedroom units was our original proposal. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Why are you asking for the extension? Is it because are you in court, or you just need it because you haven't done the project yet?
So we have actually gotten this approval through the through the P&Z Commission. The approval is kind of in process. We are working with the neighbors to come to a potential settlement, but we do have an approval for less than the 80 units proposed. I think it was 55 was the total, if I'm not mistaken.
45.
45, excuse me. Thank you, Patrick. But ultimately, we just haven't. It's a large project. We're trying to work with the neighbors to come to a consensus, but we do have approvals, and we would just need the additional 2 years to kind of prepare everything and get it ready for actual build.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking because I think if this is in court, I think our time clock stops. Is that correct? I think we've been told is that if an appeal is taken on a project there.
True, if it's active litigation.
If it's active litigation, then the time clock stops there. So so that's kind of a question for you, is that I don't know if you're under litigation now, I don't know if you need to get an extension. That was just kind of a general question, or are you asking it because you're trying to work out issues with the neighbors and you need the extension?
Yeah, Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there's any active litigation. It's just a conversation with the neighboring properties. Is that correct?
It's currently a conversation.
But there was active
There was,
litigation,
yeah.
which probably did pause
Yeah, that's,
the project, and now the clock is running again, maybe.
I'm not sure how long that active mitigation actually was, because we got our approval in September. So at best, we got a couple extra months out of that.
and there's no issue, because I didn't have a chance to fully review the engineering report, but there's been nothing else tied to the lines, and
Be without
the lines are kind of there. We don't have any issues with the
This is basically
capacity.
the manhole before one rod,
Yep.
so there's nothing.
And they're just extending.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I
Making the
thought.
pipe bigger. Yeah.
Longer down. So
Exactly.
so it shouldn't be. There's no issues with capacity.
It's subject to,
Yeah.
They have to upgrade that from
Yeah.
8 to 12.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. No further questions.
I guess, I mean, my only question is how was it worded if we have to read the whole thing? Because it's subject to, it's not just a blanket approval, it's subject to upsizing the pipe.
I also have a clarifying question in addition to that. You mentioned extending in 2 years in time, but you also mentioned extending from 45 units to, is it 80 units?
It's the other way around.
It started out at 80 units.
Oh, it's going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
I think we approved the full.
We were approved, I believe, for 80 units was the original analysis.
And
Flow calculations are based on that.
got it.
so-
Correct.
So no approval required to do less. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
We
you.
always overshoot and make sure we have capacity for it, and then, because we can always go down.
Exactly.
I believe the prior, the minutes from the original approval were attached as backup and highlighted.
Yeah, we did present, and I gave this back to everybody, but we did present a sewer replacement plan
Right.
that we
Yeah, can we just say
submitted
subject
originally.
the sewer replacement plan?
Yeah, I can project that to the screen if that would help you guys.
It's more just wording for the motion.
I got you.
It is in the backup.
Do you have the?
That's the original approval. Yeah. Oh, no, wait, sorry. That's
No, just actually, I'll use a new. Pull up the approval that I just read.
you're just trying to get the
I'm
general
just trying to get the
language.
general
Yeah.
language. What's the one? Oh no, can you pull the one? The
one we
newest,
just
the
had?
newest one I just had.
It's
The
here.
newest. Okay. How many gallons per day do you have?
This one is for, give me 1 second to pull that one up. The 80 unit that was approved was for 14,385.6, so 14,386. If you want to round
Okay,
up.
and that was 80 units of what?
Two bedroom.
And that was theirs. I don't know if this is helpful, but this
That was
was
the original
June
approval.
2024 approval.
Yeah, that was the original approval.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Okay, so I make a motion to allow the proposed development at 812 Reef Road comprised of 80 two-bedroom units with an average daily flow of 14,386 gallons per day to connect to the Fairfield sewer system. It is understood that the developer at his sole expense, as a condition of the approval, will upgrade the sewer pipe required for this development. The upgrade must be approved by the town engineering. Once the upgraded pipe will be transferred and become the responsibility of the WPCA. This approval will be valid for 2 years from today. After 2 years, the applicant must reapply for extended approval. If an extension of time is requested, the WPCA at its sole discretion may require an updated sewer capacity analysis. The applicant will be required to pay the I&I fee in effect at the time the permits are issued, and the fixed I&I will be waived for the project if the permits are issued within the initial 2-year approval.
Second.
Second it.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Good. Thank you very much. I promise I'm done this time. Have a great night.
You too. All right, new business number 3, to hear, consider, and act on a sewer connection request for a proposed mixed-use commercial redevelopment located at 2131 Black Rock Turnpike and 414 Stilson Road.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Kurt Lowenstein, professional engineer with Land Tech, here on behalf of the property owners, or properties owner, Dolan Properties. So like you said, 2131 Black Rock Turnpike and 414 Stilson Road. 2 separate properties, currently both developed now. Many are familiar with it. This is the corner where Little Pub is now, and then this is the small kind of medical / office building that's, just next door. Again, it's on the corner, and do I have the ability to share my screen? I'm logged in. I don't know if I need permission, just so I can bring up a GIS so we can just kind of see where we are on the, let's see. I'll give it a shot and then see.
John, do you have to give permission, or is he good?
Looks like he's got it.
Looks like we're working here.
Good.
Just so we've got a map that
There we go.
we can see what we're working with here. Okay, so the 2 properties highlighted, 2131 and 414. Again, Little Pub on the property that's on the corner. There's a flower shop and a hardware store as well. And then the office is on the 414. Both properties currently connected to sewer. There's an 8-inch VCP line that is in Stilson. There's a manhole right about here where my cursor is. This is the end of the line there, or the beginning of the line, depending on how you want to look at it. That ties into a manhole that's in the center of the intersection here. You have an 8-inch main that's running down Black Rock Turnpike, and another 8-inch main that comes down the other side of Stilson. They combine in the center intersection here, and then they make their way down Black Rock Turnpike, going down towards the McDonald's there and the Tungus Hill split. So our proposal would be to combine the 2 lots, pending approvals, and then construct 2 new buildings there. Both will be 3 stories. That will be, it's a mixed-use development, so there'll be restaurant, retail, fitness, wellness, and office in total. Our sewer capacity report that was submitted to you, spells out all of the fine details, but just from a big picture perspective, what we're looking at adding here is a little over 7,000 gallons per day, 7,110 to be exact, average daily flow. The existing site is generating a little over 1,400 gallons per day, so our net when we're coming out of that is, going to be in that kind of 5,000 plus gallons per day, 5,600 or so. There's also a project that is just up Stilson, which would be planned north. This is the 222 Stilson Road project that had a number of residential units. When we did our capacity analysis, we did include what our proposed flows from the site will be, differential from what's currently contributing, so you can see what the net increase would be from our site. And then we also factored in the flow that would be coming down planned south from the 222 Stilson Road. Current pipe, the 8-inch that runs down Black Rock, which would be plan east, that's running at around 40% full right now. When we combine our flows added in and the property, the 222 Stilson project, will be increasing roughly 20%, from going from 40 roughly to 60. So you're still well underneath of a pipe full there. You do have excess capacity. It's a pretty even split as far as what we're contributing versus what the 222 Stilson is. In that 20%, we're representing about 50%, and then the other project would be representing about 50%. But, conservatively looking at this to make sure that we're accounting for the other flows. So in total, again, we're looking for a net increase from our property of 5,674 gallons per day, which will equate to 22,696 gallons per day. That's applying a peaking factor for all of our proposed flows, and as well as the other project, we incorporated that peaking factor. Again, all of this is summarized in our report. Wright Pierce, did a review, as you know. They found a consistency with what our numbers were within, a margin of error there. So with that, we would, be seeking approval for this connection based on the flows that we've proposed in front of you. I also have Marc Andre, who's our project architect, with us.
Just wanted to clarify. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Marc Andre. I'm the architect for the project. Just wanted to make a minor correction. It may not be that relevant, but we are not building two new buildings. The 414 Stilson Road will be demolished to the foundation, and then we're going to go up with the addition. And then 2131 Black Rock Turnpike, similarly, we'll do the same thing, but that one, we're going to cut off a section of the building to provide better internal circulation, and we're expanding the front portion of the building. So that's everything else basically remain the same as per Kirk's presentation.
And just here for any questions.
Questions?
So one question I have is, we've discussed in the past how anything that's already been approved upstream, not built but approved, should be considered in our decision. Do we have a view as to the other things that are being added further up Black Rock or further up Stilson included in this?
It sounds like they, for us, included the major one, but then, I don't know. Are we aware of anything else?
I think there's one right next to it at is that the one 430, Stilson? Is that one was that approved already?
I believe that's going the other direction, though.
Okay, that goes down the other
Because
direction.
the manhole that,
Oh, okay.
the manhole that's here goes towards Black Rock, and then there's another main that goes the other way.
The 430 or 452 goes.
I believe it goes like page south.
That's correct. Because there's two next to each other, but one goes one way.
Yeah, so it'd more just be up
So they did do 220.
north on Stilson or west on Black Rock would be the only two that could impact this.
West on Black Rock. So things like, and I don't know what state of approval they are, but things further up Black Rock. I don't know, have we approved anything further up Black Rock yet?
That's
Black Rock go down.
I was going to say that's actually heading down this
So
way.
that doesn't combine yet? Okay, so it's not relevant.
Yeah, they're at the top of the line.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
I do want to make the commission aware of just a couple of caveats that were identified in our engineer's analysis of the applicant's capacity analysis. So one, the flow data is over 2 years old, was not performed by this applicant, but the applicant for 222 Stilson. Also, although that was approved by this commission at the time, the use of that flow metering data, it used rain gauge data that wasn't from the WPCF rain gauge. What was fine at the time, since that point in time, we have modified our rules and regulations to make that a requirement that the rain data be obtained from the WPCF rain gauge. So just bringing that up as a couple of caveats that were identified by Wright Pierce in their technical review. Wright Pierce also identified that this metering data only captures 1 point downstream of this proposed connection. That's nothing, that's a limitation from our rules and regulations. It was identified as a best practice that we have at least 2 downstream metering locations. Again, best practice recommended by Wright Pierce, but this is in no way a requirement of our rules right now.
Thank you for that. I do have concern relying on over 2-year-old data.
If I could, Commissioner, it was collected in July of 2024, so we still would be within that 2-year span, technically speaking.
But we approve for 2 years, so, I mean, if you guys don't connect until June of 2028, we're kind of relying on 4-year-old data at that point, so.
Sure. Sure.
My client instructed me, should you require additional data as a condition of approval, would be happy to do so.
I would just recommend that the commission take a look at section 233 of our rules and regulations, just to ensure consistency in decision-making, and that we are upholding our rules and regulations, and if we're deciding for a certain reason that we're not, then we're offering this applicant a variance, and that we're documenting the reason for offering the variance.
Right.
So new flow data would also mean that we would be using a WPCA approved gauge,
Right.
which currently you don't have, right? I mean,
The rain, are you talking about the rain
No,
gauge?
this data was relying on
the old,
The old data, right, correct.
Yeah.
But it is worth noting that we did in that, I recognize it's not the gauge that you're currently using, but it did capture 3 events that qualify past the half inch, and 2 of actually very significant value. So even using difference in rain gauge data, 1.8, and I think the other one had been 1.5, even variations between range gauge data, that's still very good data to get to understand an I&I perspective.
Understood, and thanks for clarifying. I mean, for me personally, that's less of a concern than the
age of the
than
data.
the 23-month-old data. Chris.
I just got another general question. I think this is more for the commission. When they're doing their existing flow, they got their they took it from their water meter readings, so they got actuals there. Some applicants, they come in and a lot of times they don't have any flow, so they just take their usage of what it's used for, which is mostly higher there. Just
Design flows, you're
the
saying.
design-
are
yeah,
higher than
correct.
actual.
Most of them are
Generally.
there, and that's what, because how much square footage are you really adding to what's there now, to what's existing?
Mark, do you know that number offhand by chance?
Because it just seemed like that the flow was quite low for what you have now. You have an office building, a restaurant, and then a flower/hardware store there. So it's more of for the commission, is that when an applicant comes in on a site, what are we going to make them use for flow data? Like we've brought some applicants that they when they're really tight, and we say, give us your actual flow data, and we'll look at that to use it. And now we have an applicant that's using water meter readings, and as a kind of an outside person, I'm like, well, they could go in per zone, and they're already connected, and they have office and retail. They could increase their flow a huge amount right now, without coming to us, or without really coming to us. They could increase it for what the zone is.
Especially when we're talking multi-use, I would imagine that the flow is almost certain. The design flow for this is going to be higher than what the existing
I
design
agree,
flow would be.
but what are we going to use for the difference?
Well, right now, this conversation is not about the delta. It's about the
But the
pipe
delta,
capacity in the pipe going
but the
down.
delta goes to the pipe capacity. So if you're going to,
We do design flows based on.
No, but you're-
Design
but-
flows, but the
but you're-
delta we
you're
do consider
different.
for I&I when we're calculating the I&I.
that,
values.
but also and on the pipe capacity there is that, because for the pipe capacity that it's your increase. Because if let's just say that their flow meter that they have 1,600 gallons a day, they're going to increase it up to, they got 5,000 gallons a day because they're going up to 7,500 or whatever. So their increase is 5,000 gallons per day. They took the actual water meter readings, where a lot of people take the usage readings, which is more.
You're talking about.
And then
just
that would
for
affect the pipe capacity analysis. It goes right down. on what, it's more of a, what does the commission want to look at to use? Because as a property owner here, with just looking at it there, my capacity is my use, not what I'm using now. I could argue it.
I don't know that I'm agreeing with you here. So we take flow meter data, there's flow meter data on the 12-inch line in Black Rock.
That's correct.
And so they came up with what the average flow is going through that pipe, and then they took their design flow and added that to that actual flow.
But they're an existing use. They have the delta of what they have.
So subtracting the existing.
Correct. And they took they took the use of what they had from their water meter readings, where most people take the use of what their the restaurant count with how many seats and that they just take the projected use.
That wouldn't be an apples to apples comparison, though. What we want to, when we're looking at a capacity analysis, we want to understand what is the real number that's going into it from an existing perspective, not what the health code regulation would do. So if you did, just to bear with me, Mike, if you were to play it out on a theoretical calculated number for an existing use, let's say it was, just to use even numbers, let's say it was 1,000 gallons, that's what it came out as. But the real use number is only 500 gallons. You would think that you had 500 more gallons in that line, so you wouldn't be able to match up your flow data. So that's why we utilize the actual sewer use or water use bills on the existing conditions. And then for the proposed, of course, we're going to be using the theoretical values, which innately are very conservative. If you look at any development, theoretical approved versus once it's online, that number is always significantly less.
Which is intentional because we don't want sewage in the streets.
No, I understand that, but you're almost at a disadvantage for a development that has no use on it. If it's a vacant place and it's been vacant for a year,
You're adding a considerable more flow to our system.
but why wouldn't? But we always take what they're allowed. And if it's an office use, you're going to be doing, if it's a 12,000 square foot office building, you're going to be taking.
But there's also less flow going into the pipe that you're connecting to because you're on an open line.
No, I agree. I think
It sounds.
It's all splitting hairs.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
That's all my question.
It sounds to me, and I'd like our professional engineer to comment, the gold standard measurement is the actual water meter, right? That's the gold standard.
Yeah, we want to know what are the real numbers because innately the calculations will be conservative. When you're looking at capacity, the only thing you care about is how much water is actually in that pipe and how much delta do you have left before you're full.
So Chris, I think the point you're raising isn't, do we ask these folks to justify what they're using, but maybe we should be asking questions like this of, in other cases, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's a underutilized real estate asset and they're trying to back out all of this theoretical flow, but they're using real rain event data, that would be apples and oranges, and we might make the wrong approval.
You're right on that. Yeah, it is almost flipped. No, that's correct.
But I think what these guys are doing is actually
That's the right
we should
way.
encourage people to do.
That's correct. I would think that would be the right way to
Yeah.
do it.
Okay.
I mean, the main issue here is just whether or not we're comfortable relying on 23-month-old rain data. I mean, the pipe capacity is
So this is a
sufficient.
new application.
Right.
And our rules do read that all new applicants must perform flow monitoring unless they meet a couple of exceptions. And I'm not certain that this applicant has met those two exceptions. And it's something for the commission to consider when it comes to upholding how our rules and regulations currently read. And if we're going to allow for this, it would be a variance and we would need to document the reasons for allowing that.
The other property on Stilson, is that already approved? Does anybody know? Did we approve that one?
We approved it, yeah.
I believe so, because that's why we
when?
can, I don't know the date.
Because, I
don't
mean,
know if you
I
guys
would
know.
think they probably have rain.
I don't know off
data.
the top of my head.
No, but they added it. No, the other,
So we approved it 23 months
Wait.
ago.
no, the other property on Stilson goes the other way. We determined that. This is the top of the line ends.
No, but.
You're talking about the project to the north.
To the north, yeah.
I don't know the date of the approval.
Sorry, not
but-
the one south. Yeah, I meant the one north that he was.
But we did incorporate the makeup of what we
Right.
understand to be the approval, yeah.
But isn't that the data that you're using that was for that
He's
approval?
incorporating their flow into their calculations, which is good for us because we should be doing that
Correct.
considering it's a major contributor. My question was when we proved it, because also they most likely would have had rain data in this similar area. So
Sorry, can you
I
clarify?
don't know when we approved.
Rain data that you're using,
222 Stilson on October 16th, 2024.
So that's coming up on. In fact, that might be that
That's-
same June.
But that's the flow data that you're using, correct?
It might be.
That's
The rain
flow-
data.
The rain data, sorry.
Yeah, that's all of the data that we're utilizing is from July of 2024.
Which is that approval.
Most likely. from-
Previous to that
Exactly
approval, that's
that
correct. Yep.
approval.
so it can't validate against itself.
And then, but then also is that, right now, is that, I think that data, they metered it closer to the development and then down Black Rock. So in reality, we only have
The one data point, yeah.
So we're kind of got two strikes against them where it's not their data and now we only have one. So I don't know if that's a precedent that I want to make.
Well, they're not their data. That part I'm not concerned with.
But
It's more
that-
just that it's 23 months old
Yeah,
and we only
it's,
have one.
old data, 1 point.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so it sounds like we might be in agreement that we all want flow data.
I mean, as Mark said, I mean, our client is not, trying to buck the system by any means, certainly because there's a lengthy process between now and when a shovel goes in the ground. Like, would we have an opportunity as a condition of approval to do that flow monitoring and then subject to that? I mean, the reason I say that is, you look at Wright Pierce's review of the application and of the capacity. They know your system much better than we do, even though we have data that we're working from. And their analysis didn't find that there was an inconsistency or a major concern of capacity here. I think all those things considered, that's why we would hope that you would be open to allowing it to work as a condition of approval here. If we were at like 81% full, I could completely get on board with you that, we're really edging it here. If a couple more applications came in or got built in that time, I got worse, we could be really edging on that. In my opinion, I feel there's enough cushion in there that it's not 2 years ago data puts us at 60 and then now at this day, now all of a sudden we're at 100% capacity. There would have to be some major generators that would have to come through your commission that you would be aware of to make that huge delta. Or if there was some, huge break in the pipe that also now you're getting an insane amount of I&I, which I don't think to be the
That's my
case
bigger
here.
concern.
I mean, I&I is a real thing, but you don't often see a 20% jump is my point.
I agree. From an engineering standpoint, I'm not concerned, but from a both precedent, I mean, we want the ability to see, review, and make an approval based on the updated flow data.
I understand.
So, I mean, if you guys are in some sort of a rush, we can certainly work with you to accommodate a special meeting once you've got the flow calculations and stuff. So, I mean, it could either be you join a regular meeting or we have a special meeting if time is of the essence, but I think we need to see the flow data before we make an approval.
Okay.
And I have a question for the applicant. What is your timeline for execution of the building permits? Because administratively,
Approval before
the
you-
sewer department needs to approve so we could sign off on building permits and the building permits can move forward.
Exactly.
That might be the,
Currently, we file for code review. Tentatively, I think it's going to be on the 30th of this month. And following that, we're moving forward with a full app. That's where we are. I also want to point out, we did double check with the sewer department as far as the validity of the data that we use to do our flow analysis. And that was, we were allowed to use that data. So just wanted to point that out. But at the same token, we do understand your concern.
Sewer Department. I appreciate it. Yeah, and so this is where our right Pierce comes into play.
Correct.
And
That is correct. So we do understand your concern, and as I said early on, our client is, well-known in town, and, we not try to circumvent the process, and we would like to move forward with this, and if the additional flow is required, we'd be happy to do that as a condition of approval.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's not going to be any hangup if this commission issues that conditional approval. Once you go for your building permits, that there's not a stopgap there.
We will provide you the data
Yeah.
before we file for the building permit. Thank you.
Then we could do a special meeting if needed.
Sounds good.
Meaning what?
I guess
What are we looking for?
I mean, for when we have to act, we're requesting updated flow data.
Is that a condition of approval?
I mean, we can discuss it more. I'm not comfortable doing a conditional. I want to see the flow data and then make the approval, but
Even if it requires a special meeting, that would be better than doing a
I would
conditional.
prefer to do that too. It's flow data, then approval. To me, it's not approval based on future flow data.
Commissioner, could I ask one question on that? So as I understand it, the WPCA regulations require flow monitoring within 2 years. This is an interesting, kind of future thing for projects as we.
Typically say 2 years. We look at the flow metering.
approval.
Sorry to interject it. Yeah, so those are two separate sections of the regulations. One is the approval validity period, and one is in regards to flow monitoring requirements. And flow monitoring requirements apply to all applicants for a request to connect to the system.
But has the practice not been that when bringing an application before your commission, the flow monitoring data must be less than 2 years old?
I mean, in my 5 years on this commission, you are the first ones who have used 23-month-old rain data. Either people have had widely longer or no flow data at all, or within a month or two of obtaining the flow data. So,
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand where that limit is, because I can appreciate that this is like, we're stretching the end of it here. And as Mark said, by no means are we trying to circumvent your commission or standards. But if, let's say we did it a year ago, is that okay? And we wouldn't need additional flow metering data? Like, I'm trying to understand, where does that line get drawn? And I know this is case by case, but just me personally, to
it's
understand
definitely
better.
a gray area. I mean, if you had 12-month-old data, I would probably want to know what took you so long to come before us, especially if
This
you
is also
did
someone else's data,
Right.
and that's something for the commission to consider as well, because our rules are specific to each individual applicant. And these rules these are more recent rules, and so historically, I think there was this gray area because we didn't have rules to speak directly to approval validity period, separate from flow metering requirements. These rules were passed in May of last year, and we've been following the rules since then. Frequently, to sewer department staff administratively, we've been receiving the question, can we utilize somebody else's flow data? It's this old, and we are actually directing applicants to our rules, and we're adhering to these rules as they were approved by this commission. And so we look to the commission to determine if there's any type of variance that should be rendered in regards to an applicant's case to waive any section of these rules, including flow monitoring.
This flow data there that we're looking at, there's really only one point that is valid to this development. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, and we always require 2 points. That's usually kind of what we always require, is that we like to get 2 different points within the lines there for that development. And in my opinion, I have less concern with the 23-year-old data of looking at that, but I don't want to set a precedence of only getting 1 point, because our rules are 2 points. I don't really have that much of a problem saying, listen, we'll use that data there, but we still got to get one more down the line.
To me, it's all three pieces
So-
together. They package up to be we need new data.
And
It's
just-
1 point, it's 23 months old, and the pipe capacity is found to be greater than 50%.
Just to clarify for the public record and understanding is the 2 points is best practice recommended by our engineering consultant. That's not written into our rules, the 2 points. So we actually do have some flexibility there, but it's best judgment.
Yeah, I mean, the rule has a little bit more leeway if the proposed connection is less than 50% of the pipe's design capacity, but this is not.
So do we need a motion, or can we just say,
We have to have a motion, right? Because
Act. So I think there is a motion.
even if it's what is the motion then to?
It would be a motion to request
On the-
additional flow data.
Pending additional.
Pending additional flow data.
Current, like recent flow data
Current flow data.
with 2 measurement points. Right?
Yeah. As
In
per.
line with best practice.
Yeah, coordinated through the sewer.
Coordinated with the sewer department.
Are there any known capacity issues further down, like where Wright Pierce is asking for it? The location of the second meter that they had requested strikes me odd in the sense of unless there's some kind of known capacity issue down there. When you have this pipe coming in and you're very far off from capacity, I'm just curious do we know if there's any kind of capacity issues once you come down that next road there?
I think that that's a request that could come in after the decisions that's made by the commission this evening. It could come in with the proposal for flow metering locations, and we could work that through with Wright Pierce, since they're the ones who performed the initial technical evaluation of your proposal.
Motion again.
I make a motion to hold off on to postpone acting on 2131 Black Rock Turnpike and 414 Stilson Road, pending additional flow metering data, which they'll work with the sewer facility.
Department.
Department on.
Second?
You get that?
I'll second that.
All in favor? All right, unanimous.
Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Moving on, operational status updates, monthly bypass and compliance updates.
No bypasses, no compliance issues.
Excellent.
We might have.
Uh-oh. There goes my motion.
It's recorded. She'll hear it.
Did you hear Michelle saying?
She got everything.
Department?
I will make sure I tell her that tomorrow. I'll say you got stuck on one word and Michelle helped you out.
All right, next item, capital improvement projects updates. Fairfield Beach Pump Station and Forest Main.
So just a note to the commission, I had previously invited our 2 WPCU project managers, internal town staff, Beata Orson and Mega Jane, to come on a quarterly basis to give report outs. I think this would have been one of the quarterly report out months. There hasn't been really significant updates in these projects, so we're going to hold off until September, and we will have bigger updates, I think, that would be worth them attending this meeting and reporting out on. So I just wanted to let you know why that they are not here this evening. But for Fairfield Beach, I could give a simple report out. I think that we're at 60% design. That the design submittal has been submitted to the permitting authorities, and so we expect that to sit with the permitting authorities for about 3 months. The updated project schedule we received most recently from Ty and Bond brings us from an original 100% design completed in August to December. And it's likely that we may add on a couple additional months, so bringing us to midwinter. for completion of the design phase. We have completed a neighborhood context study with our architectural service, Geddes, out of Westport. They presented that internally to town departments. I guess it was almost 2 weeks ago now, and we're waiting for the actual slides that they presented to us to come in. When I receive them, I'll share them with the commission before sharing them publicly. My plan is to send out a second public outreach memorandum giving updates on this project at some point in August. So follow up to the first public outreach memo that we sent out, and that will be focused on the results of the context study that we just completed.
Sounds good. Questions?
No.
I'll go on to the Mill River Force Main.
Yes, please.
We've completed cleaning and the CCTV inspection. I don't know, John, I know Mark had some involvement out in the field. Anything noteworthy from his observations
No.
while the work was being performed?
No, everything went smoothly. They did cut into the pipe to see. There was a lot of water that gushed out, but it was groundwater. They sent me the video and then told me it was just groundwater. No, everything is as expected so far, so I think we're chugging along.
Yeah, I think the investigation results are pending evaluation. That will inform the town of next steps we'll be taking, whether it's something that we could repair in place or we have to fully replace. Fortunately, we do have Beta Group already working, well, I won't say working with us, they're on standby. They've already been awarded the work if we are going to go for a full replacement. So
Was this one with the parallel?
it is.
Did we inspect both?
There, yes.
Okay. How was the unused line?
Yeah.
As expected?
Rushing groundwater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, they were both
Not good to put a
decades
pipe
old.
in the ground
Yeah,
and
it's
not use it for
yeah.
40+
I had
years.
never heard of it, and that's why.
Good idea.
Lesson learned, don't
Yeah.
ever do that again.
Don't pay for that again.
Any questions in regards to that project?
Any questions?
And then moving on to I&I, so we're green light on that. We're continuing to move forward. We completed the remaining cleaning and CCTV work under existing contract with In Situ Form from last fall. So we're ready to put that repair work out to bid. We're working with Wright Pierce on that. We actually have a meeting with the Wright Pierce team early July. And in-house, we have an inventory of the hotspots that we want to hit up next for cleaning and CCTV by one of the contractors. Our goal is to, best case scenario is get this out in the fall of this coming year, the repair work, and then to partner the repair work with cleaning and CCTV, so we don't have any of this downtime in between the completion of phases or partial phases like we're in right now. So we had a really successful phase 5A. Now we're in like this phase 5, I guess you call it B, or phase 5 continued, but we've had months now of downtime, and we want to prevent that. So I think we have a good strategy in place to keep on rolling with the I&I capital work, and then also the in-house work that we continue on with our operations. So I think that project's in a good place. Any questions?
All righty. Thank you, Michelle.
Sure.
Public comments and other. Any public comment? Any other? Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.